Thank you, Chairman, for holding today's hearing on Development Finance Corporation. Thank you, Mr. Nathan, for joining us. Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah. You know, ensuring the U.S. can effectively counter the CCP's malign influence abroad, in especially the developing countries, is a very, very high priority for me. And I view DFC as the self-powered tool to do just that. So in our meetings and our correspondence and conversations before, I've expressed my appreciation for the work that you're doing. However, the reality today is that we have a very large national debt and budget deficit. So I believe we need to be creative in development programming to ensure the sustainability of our development initiative and to effectively compete with the CCP in that space. We need to work more closely with private sector, which we know private-public sector partnership would be the key for the success of DFC, and DFC is a critical tool for accomplishing that. One of the most effective ways to counter Belt and Road Initiative is to highlight the difference in quality between the CCP's poorly built and exploitative projects and higher quality guarantees that U.S. investment brings. So could you tell me how DFC can ensure that its investments are marketed as part of the wider U.S. government efforts in the host country?
Yes, thank you for the question and for our previous conversations as well. I think it's important that we be proud of what we're offering, not step back from high standards, not step back from the nature and the values of what we're projecting through what we offer. By being respectful for local laws and conditions, by employing people locally rather than bringing in workers, by thinking about long-term value as opposed to short-term wins, by finding private sector partners and funding projects that are commercially viable and financially sustainable, I think we're strongly differentiating ourselves, and I think we're beginning to make a difference. Along with our partners in the G7 and other like-minded allies and partners, we need to make sure to work together to really make clear that we're offering an alternative.
So how will the increased number of overseas DFC officers help market the corporation's investments and projects on the ground?
Yeah. So it turns out that DFC is massively underrepresented abroad. Most development finance institutions have somewhere between 15 and 30 or even more % of their staff overseas. We have 1%. We have 6 direct hires. We're expanding that, and we're working with you and your colleagues to do that.
Yeah.
But we need to double or triple that to get to 3%. And these people disproportionately carry their weight in business development by having local relationships, contacts on the ground, and doing business development. They really help fill our deal pipeline. And as you point out, they then also, because of their local presence and relationships, can be part of the overall effort of giving visibility and publicity to the work we do. Sure. Of course, we work with with our embassies and other parts of the interagency to help do this, but there's really no substitute for having our own employees do that.
Thank you. So can you talk about the efforts or additional efforts we're taking to help countries who are dependent on China's Belt and Road Initiative, and can you give some examples of some of the projects that make countries less reliant on Chinese infrastructure projects?
Yeah, so I mentioned the project in Sri Lanka. I think there's a direct contrast there in the Port of Colombo. The project that we've financed through the private sector with an Indian and Sri Lankan company is immediately adjacent to China Maritime's port. And I think our port is going to be highly competitive with them. But there are other projects where we've directly encountered potential Chinese competition. For example, in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, we made a $267 million loan for a project called Smart Rio, which was competing against 2 different Chinese competitors for the tender. It helps manage lighting and sewer systems and water in Rio. Those kind of infrastructure projects are incredibly important. In Turkey, we provided financing for a polypropylene plant last year called Ceyhan. this project had not only a potential Chinese competitor, but also a Russian competitor, and we were very pleased to be able to support the private sector company that developed that with U.S. financing.
Thank you very much.